Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the mountain systems, important mountain systems and ranges of India. So the first and the most important mountain of India obviously are the Himalayas. So before understanding about Himalayas, what we have to first understand that why and how Himalayas have formed. So the Himalayas formation begins somewhere about 10 million years ago when we have collision between the Indian plate coming from the south as clearly shown in this diagram and Eurasian plate located in the northern side. Indian plate was earlier part of Gondwana land. Somewhere about 180 million years ago, it split from Gondwana land and started its journey toward north. And this we can see in this particular picture that gradually it has drifted toward north and finally collided to the Eurasian plate. So basically Himalayas we can say is a resultant of continental convergence type of or kind of plate interaction. Due to this convergence, this whole region where we have collision between Indian plate and Eurasian plate become warped and started to uplift in the upward direction, leading to formation of a mountain that is called as fold mountain. So second thing we can say about Himalayas are these are example of fold mountain as they have been formed due to the upfolding of sediments present in the bed of Tethys Sea as well as the rocks present on the marginal areas of Eurasian and Indian plate. And since Himalayas have formed very recently as far as the geological time period is concerned, Himalayas is also called or considered as an example of young fold mountain. Structure wise, if you look at that, we can divide Himalayas basically into three ranges coming from north to south. The northernmost range is called as Great Himalayas. Some important points about Great Himalayas that its average elevation is about 6,120 meters, while its average length or width we can say is about 25 kilometers. The second range is Mid Himalayas that extend from Jammu Kashmir in the west all the way up to Sikkim in the east. If we talk about Middle Himalayas, overall average height of Mid Himalaya is somewhere between 3,500 to 4,500 meter and overall length is around 70 kilometers. 70 kilometers is the overall width we can say is about 70 kilometers. Now, Mid Himalayas is not a single mountain range, but is divided into several different ranges coming from west to east. In the westernmost side, that is in the Jammu region and Kashmir region, the Middle Himalayas are known by the name of Pir Panjal Range. In the Himachal Pradesh, these hills are known as Dhaulahar Range. The Uttarakhand part of Mid Himalayas are called as Masuri and Nagtiba Range, while the hill ranges in the Nepal, the Mid Himalayas are known by the Mahabharat Lake range. That means from Pir Panjal in the west up to Mahabharat Lake in the east is the overall main extent of Mid Himalayas. And since they are situated at a very comfortable altitude as far as the climatic weather conditions are concerned, it is due to this region that during British time, Mid Himalayas was one of the most important regions where a lot of resort cities, resort towns and hill stations were, we can say, built up. For example, we have Ranikhet, we have Lansdowne, we have Simla, Manali. All these important hill stations are actually part of Mid Himalayas. Coming more towards south, when we have the outermost part of Himalayas that is called as Outer Himalayas, and in general terms it is also referred as Siwalik Himalayas. If we try to understand about Siwalik Himalayas, the average length of Siwalik Himalayas right from west to east is about 2,400 kilometers, while the average width ranges somewhere between 15 kilometers to 50 kilometers. To be more precise, Siwalik Himalayas are more wider in the western side and becomes narrower as we go toward the eastern side. So 50 kilometers is the width of Siwalik in west, while 15 kilometers is the width of Siwalik in the eastern side, where it stretches all the way up to the state of Arunachal Pradesh. The average height of Siwalik are much lesser as compared to the height of Great Himalayas and Mid Himalayas, and it is at the altitude of 1100 meters, where height variation is between 600 meters at the lowest point up to 1500 meters in the highest point. One other part of Himalayas after Arunachal Pradesh that extends to the northeastern states are called as Purvanchal Himalayas. Purvanchal Himalayas basically cover the states of Arunachal Pradesh, where it is known by the name of Patkai. Then further south in the Nagaland, the Purvanchal Himalayas are known by the name of Naga Hills. Then in Manipur, these are called as Manipuri Hills, and further to the south in the Mizoram state, it is called as Mizo Hills, or earlier it was also known by the name of Lushai Hills. About Purvanchal Himalayas, a large part of these rock structure are mainly limestone and sandstone, and these have a very rugged terrain as far as the topography of Purvanchal Himalayas are concerned. The highest peak of Purvanchal Himalayas is called as Saramati Peak, which is at the elevation of more than 3,500 meters, and it is a part of Naga Hills range of Purvanchal Himalayas. The second important and the highest peak are located in Mizo or Lushai Hills, which is called as Blue Mountain. Other important point about Purvanchal Himalayas are they actually straddles along the border of India and Myanmar, and it is due to this rugged terrain and mountainous structure that there has been in the past time, and to some extent even today, a large scale movement of insurgents which are engaged in insurgency in the northeastern state, mainly with demands of either separating from the India or having a different and separate state based on the tribal allegiances. This has been a region that has been severely affected by insurgency, and to a large extent the geography has played a very important role in that. Further, the next mountain range in the northern India itself, that is the Trans-Himalayas. Trans-Himalayas are the mountain ranges that is located to the north of the main Himalayan ranges, or we can say more precisely to the north of Great Himalayan ranges. Trans-Himalaya overall is made up of 4 different ranges. The Karakoram Range in the north, followed by Ladakh Range. Ladakh Range further extends in eastward direction up to Tibet, where it is known by the name of Kailash Range, and further south we have Jaskar Range. So Karakoram, Ladakh, Kailash and Jaskar. These are the 4 main ranges of Trans-Himalayas. So about Karakoram Range, the length of Karakoram Range is about 800 kilometers, extending all the way from Pakistan-Afghanistan border to the India-Tibet border. The width is between 100 to 120 kilometers, while average elevation is 5,100 meters. An interesting point that you have to keep in mind is that if we draw the topography of Himalayas like this from south to north, what we can see that Siwalik are the lowest in elevation, then mid Himalaya, also called as Himachal, are slightly higher in elevation, then Great Himalayas, also called as Himadri, are the highest in elevation. So first elevation increases from south to north, but once we cross Great Himalayas, we encounter the Trans-Himalayan mountain ranges, and here again elevation decreases, as evident from this information given here, that the average elevation of Karakoram Range is 5100 meter, while if you remember, average elevation of Great Himalayas is around 6100 meters. So this is how the structure of Himalayas and Trans-Himalayas in terms of elevation will look like. Now Karakoram Range is very important from the point of view that about 50% of Himalayan glacier is situated in Karakoram Range. Again, to remind you that Himalayas itself is considered to be the 3rd largest source of glacier out of Antarctic and Arctic region, and even in Himalayas about 50% of glaciers are just located in the Karakoram Range. Some of the important glaciers here are Siachen Glacier, Hispar Glacier, Bayafo Glacier and Baltoro Glacier. Out of this, Siachen Glacier is the most important one because this is also considered as the highest battlefield of the world, because here Indian Army has put a base to confront any attack emanating from Pakistan or Chinese side. The highest peak of Karakoram Range, that is located in the Pakistani occupied Kashmir, is Mount K2, which is a very pyramidal, steeply rising conical kind of peak, at the altitude of 8,611 meters. The important point about Mount K2 is that though it is slightly lower in elevation than Mount Everest, the climbing of Mount K2 is much more arduous, much more difficult due to its sudden steepness, and that is why very less number of climbers have been successfully able to come and climb up to the top of K2 as compared to the Mount Everest. Further, we have Ladakh and Kailash range. Ladakh range extending all the way up to 300 kilometers from west to east with an average elevation of about 5800 meters above sea level. In northern west region, it extends all the way up to Rakaposhi range, while in the eastern side it goes all the way up to Kailash range, where Mount Kailash is the highest peak at the altitude of 6714 meters. Mount Kailash is also very important from India's perspective because this is believed to be this is actually a source of three major rivers of India, that is Indus River moving toward northwestern direction, we have Satluj River moving toward the southwestern direction, and we have the Brahmaputra River that is flowing to the east and then takes a U-turn and enters India near Arunachal Pradesh and then start flowing toward west. So Indus, Satluj and Brahmaputra have their origin in Mount Kailash, and that's why it supplies a very large amount of fresh water to the Indian territory. The last range of Trans-Himalayas are Jaskar range, that is extending up to elevation of 3000 to 5000 meters and extend from west to east all the way for a distance of almost 640 kilometers. The western boundary of Jaskar range can be marked near Suru River. Suru River is a tributary of River Indus in the Ladakh region. Then in the eastern side, the Jaskar range can be extend up to Karnali River. Karnali River is a tributary of Ganga River. So these two rivers basically are the western and eastern boundary of Jaskar range. The highest peak of Jaskar range is believed to be Mount Kamet, which is situated at the elevation of 7756 meters in the state of Uttarakhand. If you look at this map here, this diagram here, you can see again Kamet peak is having similar kind of pyramidal structure as the Mount K2, though it is much more lower at much more lower elevation as compared to K2. Now, out of Himalayas, we also have some very important mountain ranges in different parts of India. The one of the most important range is the Aravali Ranges. The Aravali Ranges extend all the way from the Palanpur district in the state of Gujarat to the Delhi region, which is the capital city of India. The length of this range is almost 800 kilometers from west to east from north to south, and overall the elevation is only 400 to 600 meters. One other thing you should know about Aravali range, that as you move from south to north, continuously what we see is the width of Aravalis keep on decreasing and also the height of Aravalis keep on decreasing. That means the highest regions of Aravalis are located toward its southernmost tip. The highest point of Aravalis is actually also the highest point of the whole state of Rajasthan, is called as Guru Shikhar, which is situated in the Mount Abu region of Aravali at the altitude of 1722 meters. Coincidentally, Aravali ranges have a lot of passes that allows cross movement between the eastern part of Aravalis to the western part of Aravalis and vice versa. Basically, it allows connection between the Madhya Pradesh region in the east and Rajasthan region in the west. Also, if we try to look at this is our India Gate in Delhi, and as we move more toward north toward India Gate, we have North Block, South Block, and further we have Rashtrapati Bhavan. So this whole structure of Rashtrapati Bhavan is actually situated on the hill that is called as Rai Shina Hills, and incidentally Rai Shina Hills are nothing but part of Aravali mountain. Further, the next mountain we have to understand about is the Vindhya range. Vindhya range extend in the central part of India, right from the state of Gujarat all the way up to the state of Bihar. Vindhya range is example of block or fault mountain. That means the structure of block and fault mountain looks something like this, where we have two elevated structure on the sideways side, while the central area is a depressed area, a kind of valley-like structure that is called as Rift Valley. Also, geographically, Rift Valley is also given the name of Grabens, while the surrounding highland or upland areas are called as mountain, or in geological term, it is also called as horst. So basically, what we can understand that Vindhyas are example of horst, while in the south of Vindhyas we have a Rift Valley through which river Narmada flows through, and on the other side of this Rift Valley of Narmada we have another horse, that is another mountain, block mountain, that is called as Satura. So that is how the whole structure of Vindhya, Narmada river and Satpura looks like. Structure wise, Vindhya range are made up of mainly sandstone, shell and quartz rocks, and the highest point of Vindhya range is called as Goodwill Peak, which is also called as Sadbhavana Shikhar, which is situated at the altitude of 2467 meters. Apart from that, Vindhya range also act as a very important water divide between the northern and the southern part of India. We have major rivers like Kali Sindh river, Chambal river, Betwa river, Dhashan river and Ken river, that are the major rivers which is also tributary of Yamuna, originate from the Vindhya Hills. While in the southern side we have the rivers that originate from the Vindhya Hills and move more toward the east or south part of India. The next important mountain range is Satpura. This is also made up of several mountain ranges coming from Gujarat in the west all the way up to Madhya Pradesh in the east for a distance of 900 kilometers and at the average elevation of 1000 meters. The Satpura range is made up of few important ranges, that is, it is called as Rajpipla range in the state of Gujarat. Then it is called as Mahadev Hills or Mahadev range in the state of Madhya Pradesh, and there is one other hills situated here between after Mahadev Hills, that is called as Maikal Hills in the east. So Rajpipla Hills, Mahadev Hills and Maikal Hills, they collectively form a continuity of Satpura range structure. The highest point, however, of the Satpura range is a peak that is called as Dhupgarh, which is situated in the Mahadev Hills region at the altitude of 1350 meters. The easternmost part of Satpura range, as discussed before, if we try to understand from this map, is the Maikal range. However, one point you have to keep in mind that the Satpura range extends in the west to eastward orientation, while Maikal range slightly is oriented in north-southward direction. The highest point of Maikal range is Amarkantak Plateau at the elevation of 1058 meters, and this Amarkantak Plateau is very important because from this Amarkantak we have two different rivers that is originating in two different sides. One rivers originate and flow toward north and joins the Ganga. This river is Son river, which is an important left bank tributary of river Ganga. The another river originates from Amarkantak Hills on the other side and flows between Vindhya and Satpura. Finally, it enters into the state of Gujarat, where it drains into Gulf of Khamba. This river is the Narmada river. So Amarkantak river is a source of two very important rivers of India. One river is the eastward flowing, northward flowing, while other river is the westward flowing river. So that is about today the important mountain ranges of India. The another important mountain ranges of Peninsular Plateau, Western Ghat, Eastern Ghat and Northeastern India, Meghalaya Plateau will discuss in the upcoming video. So that's all for today. Thank you very much.